There we go. Headset was not working for a second, so welcome everyone. We'll get started in a moment. So, welcome to this Easter Sunday edition thing. Just another day, a Sunday for some people. It's Easter. Enjoy your day. For others, enjoy your Sunday. Got a little wine on this edition. Looks like I bet I'll be fairly alone today, which is good. Everyone should be out there visiting family, even though we're in the distancing situation. Take some time out, stand at the fence, go say hey. Did that to my gram today. It was awesome. Just had the same haircut as the dog. It was a great time. Then spend some time reconnecting with people and just saying I love them and I love all you and thank you for being here. So, I'm always on the fence if I should have music too. Maybe I should. It might get things going. If people want to provide like static content of music that they think would be good, I just don't know what the copyright stuff is about that. But I think today I may do that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I'll keep it in the low and we'll figure it out. So, hey, how's everyone doing? So, welcome to video painting, wine-induced video painting for Easter. Got some bunnies, got some peas, got some kraut. All works in one. Put it in a bowl, and it works. So, for a second I just thought that crashed, but it didn't. Okay, so, what are we going to do today? Well, I've been pondering a lot. Like, I haven't, after I did the last video painting, I really haven't done much video work this week, which is kind of atypical. Usually I do a lot. But I think what I got to do is just explore some more CV patterns today. I think that's the big thing. And then I got a nice fine glass of the wine today, my friend. That's, I guess, maybe I'll try to make a video peep today. I think it's the right type of day. It's the right time. We're all here together. So we got the fans rolling in, loving it. So yeah, I think what I want to do today is work more CV patterns where I can create CV peeps, exactly CV peeps, to use CV patterns maybe with the shape changer and different uses, like condition it and then use that. So we'll take like a static form and then condition it a certain way. And then we'll see what we can do that's unique. And that's like, well, we're going to try to get a little bunny or a peep, and we'll see what happens. So how do we want to do that? Well, the first thing I had in my head was like I wanted to mess around with the shape changers specifically to see what you can do, and I think specifically what I would want to do is just like because I love saws, so I'm gonna do saw vertical or horizontal, and we'll actually make it that way. So this is horizontal saw. We have the vertical saw, and we're ready to go. Thank you for being here, Mr. LeBlanc. Have some wine on me. So, what we're going to try today, wine-induced video painting with some peeps, kraut and chocolate, and some wine. And the biggest thing, exactly, got some top Stukrats right now. Stugots. So the big thing what I want to explore is the CV manipulation. So what I'm thinking is like I just want, vertical or horizontal, vertical, same thing. And what we'll do, we'll just actually go straight out to the RGB, because a lot of times what I'm trying to do here too is show you what the like clean values are. Clean values, what does that mean? What I mean is like what does it look like just straight output? So obviously that horizontal is just way out, so let's get you back. And then we have the vertical, which we can't really see yet, but what we'll do is mess around, see if I'm losing it. I could very well be losing it. What's happening here? Okay. Oh, maybe it's just a color thing. Kraut. Okay, there, I see it now. It's very faint, but I see it. Okay, so you can kind of see it there. Oh, there we go. So that's the thing I like about the shape changer a lot, is when you prescribe to exactly what it's supposed to do, which I always feel like there are many ways you can ever do anything. There's no set way. There's a preferred way, or a demonstrated way. But so what I'm trying to say is, so you create these little panes, and look at all these little lines in between there. And so let me move it right there, and you can already see there's some cool shapes there. But what I really want to do is say, like, okay, let's take a ramp. We'll take a ramp horizontal, positive up top, negative on bottom, and we'll go, or sorry, strike that, reverse it. We're taking a horizontal, horizontal, positive or negative up top, positive on bottom. We'll go the source of the staircase, and then we'll take divided by 2, and we'll go to ratio. Okay, so already we're getting, yeah, we're already in Easter colors. So this is kind of, I guess, going to be the vibe today. So what's so interesting is when I turn down the frequency to 0, it keeps the same size design, but as I'm turning up the frequency, you can already see this more organic, like, wave pattern than messing with the phase. So we're starting to get to a point where the shape changer is really being a focal point of manipulation, but it's more the CV of it. So we already just have these static sources, and so I can then use, as you can see, I'm just moving the knobs instead of CV right now to show you what can be done. And so what I'm also going to do, I'm going to molt them out in such a way afterwards. First we'll do a static pattern, then we'll add LFOs so you can see both styles. So right now we only have one, and that's one ramp going through here. So next we're actually going to do a divisions now. So the divisions, we'll take number 7 and we'll go to fade, or actually we'll go to mixer plus, and then mixer minus. We'll do another ramp, but just the opposite of the other ramp, which is horizontal, positive up top, negative on bottom, right? And so then the mixer output of that will go to, let's see what, maybe the skew. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe size. Don't see much. Curve. Well, I guess we'll work with the curve. And also, you still want that plus influence. So what I want to do is then actually take the staircase and use divided by 4 there. And we'll see if anything happens, really. Who knows? We'll give it a shot, see what happens. Okay, so what's happening here is that it's allowing to, as you can see, this like bend that happens right there that now makes it feel like it folds. And so that is what I guess I'm trying to do with this ramp. And then as I play with the frequency, it then alters not just the horizontal, but also the vertical design. So you see now if you had an LFO source, which we'll add just to show you for context, you see how much, let's do it like a little faster so you can get an idea. Let's see. Alright, and then so there's an example of what I'm saying is you can use the way, or using the CV in such a way to condition how you want to use these basic waveforms that are static. And that's what we're really talking about, is how to use not just an LFO, but really conditioning your CV to create a more dynamic shape, and using a single module like the staircase, or sorry, the shape changer as the pass-through. Okay, so still we have 2 more CV positions open, and as I said, I didn't really want to focus on LFO manipulation right now. So what we're going to do next is, well, we still have the size and the skew. What do we want to do here? Well, one thing you could do is then take the divided by 1 to keep with the staircase idea, and then filter it, and then CV that with another ramp. We'll do negative or positive in the middle, negative, negative. So it's 75 or 50, 25, 25, and that will condition our CV, the triple video multi-mode filter, and then the output of that we will go into the skew. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. So you can see now, since the staircase controls a lot of that signal path, I'm just going to mess around. Whoa, okay. I did not see that coming. So that just happened when I'm, okay. Alright, so you can see where the filter is coming into play, these extra lines you have right there. Ooh, right there. So what it's making me do is take the signal from the staircase and then using the ramp as a CV, but in such a way it's like crushing it. So when I change, I change the different types of filtering. So there you go. All right. So we still have, as you can see, static. It's static, right? But because I'm isolating them or trying to, let's do it like this too, you get a better composition, and now I get this like spiky look. Okay, and one more we still want to do is the size of the VC. And so what do we want to do with that? Well, we're gonna, yeah, I don't know. Let's just try another waveform. We'll try a triangle. And so now this is a vertical, or yeah, it's a vertical triangle. Let's try horizontal. No, or sorry, horizontal is this. Yep. I don't keep with vertical. And so now it creates more definition because it's essentially, more frequency, more layers, or you have these thicker static layers, and now it creates these like little pieces, as you can see, that are kind of segmented, which are really nice. And so now let's just play around with a shape changer. And you can see how much control there is, and wow, that's pretty cool, of what you can do with using first statically the CV sources, and how you can segment pretty much just two waveforms together. It's acting more like a major mix source, and then using ramps and other sources like that with the staircase to define the CV and provide more character. So let's mirror the two of them and see what it looks like, what we can get out of it. And you can see, yeah, like you can bring back these lines like we're talking about, these horizontal and vertical lines. So that's what this is, or these vertical lines here, giving it more character, as I said before. But then you really have this single line, which is acting as your main focal point, and then you have the horizontal acting as essentially a pattern. I always view horizontal patterns as a way to create, or waveforms to create patterns. I like horizontal waveforms. I don't use them all the time. When I do, they're static, and it's for reasons like this. So now you're saying like, well, what about LFOs? Well, let's do this. We're going to break out a few of the spots in the shape changer, and we'll give it a whirl, and you'll see what I'm saying. So we're going to take the ratio, which is also the staircase, and we're going to go into the ratio VC, and then we'll take the LFO number 3, and we'll go into here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Alright, so what that is doing is controlling the wiggle of that line. Alright, so now I kind of want to identify, okay, so what is that? I'm identifying that it's the size, so we're going to mult that out as well. Alright, so next step, let's put this back in the size, and now let's do an LFO, number 2, and let's see. Alright, so obviously that's a little fast, but let me slow that down. Alright. Alright, come on. What's cool about that, alright, let's get it to a position. Come on, buddy. There we go. So it's creating, obviously, this movement that's going down. I wish it could be a little slower, but because I can then control the CV on the shape changer, I can then, let's say I do this, and I bring it back, or I make it more like a pattern, an all over pattern, and I could do, let's say, like 3 of those, and now I just want them to be diagonal lines like that. Cool. So now, then if I played with, was it the curve and different CV sources, you see where you can now isolate aspects of the signal you want in a very Easter manner with these 3 lines, but then you're using mults as a mixer. Not so much, I guess. I'm just using the mults as a way to, I guess you could say they're a mixer, but they're just kind of, I don't view it really as that. They're multing everything. They're just being pushed all together, because you really need a certain circuit to mix it. But I'm more or less like using the shape changer as a mixer and then conditioning the CV with another signal. I don't know what you would want to properly define it as, but I guess I'm doing that. Sorry, one time. And so by doing this, I can create these more complex patterns. So that's why I like mults a lot. So I love Philips Enhancer, because the enhancer is, to me, like that's what its job does in spades, is that you just have two inputs and then there's an output. So, and it creates a lot of dynamic designs based on that, even with static waveforms. So as you can see here, I can open it up, or now I just switched it to height, and you can see how much more definition you can get. And let's just play with this. I can turn down this waveform, so now it becomes more like panels. And so the next thing I want to do is slow it down even farther, or slow it down even more, I should say. Come on. There we go. So now we're getting kind of a glassy, watery look with hues of pinks and like whites that are kind of transition. And a lot of that is because, again, I'm just taking two static waveforms, and then I'm really relying on manipulating ramps, mixing the ramps or within the staircase or the bridge mixer, as a way to make it big. I don't want to say bigger, but I'm pulling it out. It's like dough. I'm just like extending it out. I'm making this pizza larger. It's like the peeps and kraut. That's just the thing I like to do. But we're in mirror mode, so let's take it out of mirror and see what it looks like. So now you can see how much more you can stretch from it, and that's what I like so much about this shape changer. Is, to me, it's a major mixer. Like, it's a mixer that allows you to do a lot of things, mainly because of the CV. So, and I'll even go one step farther. I'll go out from this mixer, which is on the bridge, to curve, and I'll take that out for a second. We're going to CV that as well. And we'll go in to curve, and then we'll actually put an LFO to that. And you see now, let me try to get it the opposite way. Yeah, so now you can see you have two different movements. You're going up and you're going down, and it creates a real organic piece. So this is the type of thing I look for whenever I try to do more minimal or static designs, because I go through periods where I'm just kind of doing testing and etude studies. That's how I view it, of saying, oh, hey, like, well, what can I do with just two waveforms? What can I do with what? And so this is a big thing I always try to do, is opposite direction LFO design. By doing that in a single module, like if I then multed out these LFOs to the bridge or to the buff mult, then if I expanded that far, like use that farther on other waveforms such as these two, which I probably wouldn't, but I could, but really if I did it on these two, you're now then going to have shapes, and then if I then mix it together, you're going to have shapes that have a lot of movement and are similar. This is where I feel something like having another bridge would be really important, because after I would then, let's say, put a new LFO source here, I can then play with the intensity of it. So then I can actually have a lot more subtlety and a lot more control of what I would like to do. So cool. There is one more thing I gotta say, is like, we're not even touching the phase of this staircase yet, and I think that's the big thing too, to see what you could do. Realistically, like not realistically, blah. What I usually do is use the phase for like a ramp, like that, and now you can see it just jumped up really hard. It just really, really hard. Yeah, that's exactly. I just feel like molten everything. Molt, 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 molt. It's like mulch. It's like mulch and molts all day. So you can see already that when I just put, like, everything's already set up, and look how much this just jumped up by me just saying, oh, I'm going to take the vertical negative on the left, positive on the right, and put that right into the phase VC. Look at that. I mean, I don't know what to say. One time. All I can say really is that this is the type of thing I'm looking for, is now you have the downward movement, the upward movement, and now you have angular movement that gives you a really unique look. And now I think that's what I'll do in the next one. We'll use the mult explicitly to mult out that CV more and show essentially two sources, not just a shape changer, but we'll use, I guess, I think we'll use the filter as a way to show what you can do. But look, we're not even taking out the stencil or the gradient. That's a big thing. Um, it depends when I use them. It just depends. Usually, if I'm using the buff mult or the bridge, is when I want to first create. Like usually, this is atypical where I'm like, oh, just write to the LFO and use it that way. Usually, I go right to a mult first, and then I'll take one of those out and go into these. So then, that's the big thing for me at least. Um, but it really depends. We're just kind of showing it, and that I don't prescribe to anything like that. It's just kind of like that's what I prefer. But it's like everything kind of goes everywhere during a show or when things happen. But right now, like let's just even play around a little bit and see what you can do. You can see that I took this right that we originally had right, and the phase now allowed me to do this, and we get this really nice diagonal. So we have a caller right now. Someone's calling in. So now we have someone on the line. Who's on the line here? We got someone on the line, and now we can. Hey, what's up?
Not much. I guess we're like 5 minutes past my last comment now.
Oh, really? Nice, nice.
Are you still talking about mulch?
Yes, I am still talking about mults. I'm talking about the importance of mults. Do you have any comment on mults?
I do. I have a brief comment about mulch, and I think the one of the Chris LeBlancs, I don't know if it was the real Chris LeBlanc or not, was asking about when you use buffered mulch versus stackable.
Yes.
Because generally you have a lot less buffered mulch than stackables. And I find that it's kind of useful if you have something, just like if it was a CV for a VCO, if you have a signal you don't want degraded or messed with whatever you're plugging into it, like bass ramps that you're going to send different places, use those into buff mulch.
Smart move.
Hang on, my banana bread timer's beeping. But, yeah.
Well, that's kind of how I feel. Yeah. Yeah, because you want that. You ideally want that when you use these right here. Like they're good, but you do lose a lot of signal. There's a lot of noise that gets added. So it's almost like you want to do that after you have a fairly good signal going, and then you isolate the mults for when you need them specialty. That's why I probably should have another one of those or more of those in general. But
well,
yeah.
That was just my 2 bits. I was going to add that and go back to what you're doing, and I'll heckle online. I'll call you again.
All right. Thank you for the tidbit. I appreciate it.
Hey, anytime.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, take care.
Bye. So we just had a good call in from Bill Wiotrowski. So thank you so much. I hope that bread is delicious. It smells delicious from here. But that's a great point. Is that using the buffer mults for signals that you do not want degraded is very important, and that's why having a bridge or a buff mult is really important in a system, and having these is good. But I've always viewed these are really CV contortion devices. You don't really have to condition them as much, so you use these more for CV, and in this case, they're used as a pass-through, so it's kind of like a dirty mix, but it works. But so in this case, like, the staircase controls so much of this, and that's what I guess I'm trying to say too, is the manipulation of the CV now manipulating the shape changer, and you can see where now we're going to get to worlds that you may not thought were possible with the setup that I have right now. I mean, realistically, there's only a handful of modules here, and you could get a lot out of here. I mean, staircase, shape changer, bridge, yeah, ramps and divisions, but you could find alternatives for that. And the filter, you can find that use a processor. Instead, there's a lot you can do here. So right now, we'll walk through the patch. And again, that's the last thing I want to do is, so we're just going out horizontal and vertical. So we really haven't even looked at what the stencil would be. So let's go to like blue stencil and see what it looks like. Not too much of a change or gradient. See, like you can see where it adds a little bit here. But that's also important because we'll get to a point where we'll take the shape changer afterwards. I guess maybe we'll focus on that today. And we'll take like the stencil or the gradient and we'll filter that separately. Oh man, that bread looks so good. So good. Oh my god, yum. Cool. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to walk through this patch. We're going to take out the gradient because, it adds some, but we'll get into that in a minute. So let me do the patch review. I really should get like a button that just like patch review, but can't do everything. I can drink wine though, so that's the one thing I can do. Um, so let's do it. So we have, all right, we have red going to horizontal of the shape changer, and we have green going to vertical of the shape changer. Cool. What's going into the shape changer, and then we'll do the CVs separately. What's going into the shape changer is video waveform generator saw horizontal into horizontal, and then the same thing but vertical into vertical. So sawtooth, sawtooth, horizontal, vertical. Perfect. So the next thing is we want to figure out what's creating all this contortion. Well, a lot of this is the CV manipulation that's going on in the shape changer. So what are we doing here? So first, let's take ratio. So ratio we have going in, we have a CV or LFO source here, and then we have the staircase right here divided by 2. Well, what's going in the staircase? The staircase source is a horizontal waveform or ramp, which is negative on top, positive on bottom. And then it's actually being, the phase is shifted by another ramp, which is vertical, negative on the left, positive on the right. And so that is going into the ratio. And then the next thing we want to look at is size. So size is right here, and that's an LFO source. And then we have this other waveform generator triangle that's manipulating it. Great. So then next we want to look at the skew. The skew is actually from the video multimode filter, which we have here and right there, and then the input of that is actually a divided by 1 staircase output, and then we're actually CVing it with a vertical waveform, which is positive in the middle, negative, negative. There you go. So that's what you can see right there. And yeah, right, they are peepish on the bottom. There's some peepishness going on. So we definitely have achieved the peep goal, which is awesome. That's what I love. I love goals. I love missions. And next we have curve, which is right here. Oh, right here, which is another LFO source. And then the mixer source. What's going into the mixer? Well, the mixer is actually right over here. So the mixer is the opposite waveform ramp that we used previously. This one is positive up top, negative on bottom, horizontal. And then into the negative is divisions number 7 going into it. And then the other positive is the divide by 4 of the staircase going into it. So what we're talking about, I mean, let's see what the divisions will do right there. You can't really see it, but the whole point is staircase. Wow, that's great. Can create this really unique way to contort CV. And that's like one of my favorite things to do. Again, look at the Philips enhancer. I don't have it in here. I have about 6 of them. It's one of the best things for static waveform bending and CV bending, I feel. That's a really good module and takes up it's a very small footprint. And so yeah, what we're going to do next, we'll go through the shape changer again, but this time I'm going to actually do it a little different, where instead of using just the output as shape changer, we'll actually we'll create another pathway with it where we're going to use a multi-mode filter, probably with the stencil or something like that. We'll just think about it on the fly. We'll figure it out. It's a good day. It's a nice out. I don't know where you are. I heard it's snowing in Minnesota from my friend Sean, but I don't know. Maybe someone can confirm that. So next, we'll disassemble the patch. Alright, so now blue screen. Alright, and then we got some kraut, we got some peeps, we got it all. I wish I had some ham. Don't got any ham with me today. I do have wine, so I have my wine and ham. So nice, it's snowing. Appreciate it. Have some wine on me. Sorry, it's that type of day. It's brunch, right? Don't judge me. So, and you can, it's fine. So this time, so what we did before was different waveforms going in a shape changer. Great. Well, actually, we're going to dive a little deeper into that, I think. Instead of just doing 2 plain waveforms, we're going to do, we're going to do a waveform manipulated and then into it. And we're going to use the filter for that. And then what the important part is, we're going to CV it a unique way to give it some interesting look that goes into the shape changer and then go out. So we're going to focus as a shape changer to be the funnel. Because that's how I approach it a lot of times. I wish I had like 5 of them. I think it's a thing. I think it should be a thing that everyone has it. Um, all right. Ooh, that is smooth. All right. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to take, instead of a sawtooth this time, we're going to take a triangle. So actually, no, we're going to do sign shape. So sign shape. Oh, it's just short enough. So we'll take sign shape number 2, and then sign shape over here number 2 or 3, and then we'll just take the main outputs of that into horizontal and vertical. So this is the horizontal, which is 2, and then 3 is vertical. Let's see. All right, cool. Perfect. Great. So we have that set up already. So we're going to actually just prep like we did previously, where we're just going to do horizontal into red, vertical into green. Cool. We don't see anything yet. Raleigh. So why can't we see anything? Well, we just got to manipulate some stuff, see where we're at. So we got that. That's the vertical. Where my horizontal at? Let's see. There we go. There's my horizontal. And you see, that's what's interesting about the filter as well. It gives a very soft look like that. Great. That's why I'm drinking the wine, my friend. So we have that set up already. We already see a good hue to it, like a certain look that has softness. That's why I love it. It creates this, as you can see right here in the blue, it's nice and soft. Some soft baby blues today for this Easter day. All right. Next step. Well, what do we want to do is, well, we want to manipulate it somehow. The CV source. So the CV source we're going to do, we're going to try two different things. We're going to do a staircase style thing maybe for one of them, but we're going to do what I've done before maybe with the fader, specifically maybe before we'll even get into logic again, which I've actually become really enjoying the logic a lot from the last time. And even Benton Bainbridge reached out about that, and we were talking about, or he was telling me about it, how, hadn't really thought of it that way. And me too, like, that was totally first time for me. I've struggled, I get modules, sometimes it takes a long time, and thinking about different ways of doing it, and you just got to roll with it. So this time I'm going to take a ramp that is negative in the middle, positive, positive, so it's 50, 70, 25, 25, and we'll do that into fader A. And then fader B will be, actually, we'll just do the complete opposite one, which is vertical, negative in the middle, positive, positive. And then what we're going to do, go into B, and then the VC. What do we want to do for VC? Quick, 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 quick. Okay, divisions. We'll just do a divisions VC on that. We'll do 6. And then right there. And then we'll take that, and we'll go into number 3. Alright, can't really tell what's going on with that yet. So, alright. Anything, anything, anything. Alright, so kind of see some. What if I do it and do just short enough? So number 3. Okay, I think it's better in 3. And I've noticed this too. Vertical waveforms are more prone to good manipulation like this. I mean, horizontal art is too, but I feel like it's a little more difficult to get like an instantaneous look like this versus a vertical waveform. So right now, we have, right now is the two waveforms that are essentially doing this. We're creating a bullseye, or like, what do you even call that? A cross? It's not a cross. It's like bullseye. I call it an X because it's written X that way, but it's really that way. I don't know. And that's being used to control this CV, right? But also divisions. Let's go back so you can see it. See, divisions is allowing me to create. Right, exactly. So, well, I mean, you can shape them a little bit, but you can't bend them. You can like create, really just CV it like an FM style. That's really it. And even that is like not. I mean, it's cool. Like you can get that illusion, but it's not real. It's not. What is rear? I don't really know anymore. And you're absolutely correct. Um, so in this case, so the CV is really opened up, especially with divisions of what you can do. And now that I've opened up the filter, Right, not like verticals. And so now look at this. What I've created just using the X marks the spot ramps with the divisions. The divisions is allowing me to say a single line, or I can have multiple at the same time. Right. Is it rear? I hope so. And what's so great about the filter is like because the edge plus and minus, this is in the middle. If I do plus, it takes out that. But if I do minus, now we're getting into a position of really beautiful, organic, minimal stuff. This is now getting into the land I love of how do you create representational pieces using the video synthesizers, or using a video synthesizer or multiple video synthesizers at once. How do you do it? And a lot of times it's using a filter to use the edging, and now you can see the sign shape would create a lot of movement, right? Cool. And again, we're just in the shape changer. We can now push it a little bit. We haven't used it that much really, but now we got like two tiers going on, which it looks like. It's a lot sharper on the screen here than on my capture, but okay, so now those are the two sources. Only one's being manipulated by a CV source. Now let's do the second one, okay? So the second one, I'm going to use the staircase. So this time, I'm going to take one of the ramps, and we're going to take vertical, negative on the left, positive on the right, and we'll do source, and we'll take divided by 4. Actually, we're going to take divided by 2, and we'll go to this logic, group 2, number 1, and then we'll take the output of number 1, group 2, into the CV2 of lane 2, and we'll see what we can do here. Alright, so nothing too much here. I mean, so you can see it does something, but it's not like outrageous, you know? Okay, so what do we got going on? So play around with that. Right, so you can see where sometimes, in certain cases, it doesn't always work out right away. What if I did that to ratio? Sort of. Size. Size, I think it works a lot better. So you can see it's not always one-to-one. I'm just figuring out myself as I go. So now, instead of going into this VC, we're going to go into size. So I really want to use that. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go in an opposite direction, and we'll try. Alright, what I'm going to do is take divided by 4. We're going to go to FM1, and then we'll take the triangle out and go into CV. Okay. Alright. So now you can see there's a little more control of that. Alright. Yep. Okay. So you can see now there's a little more control of the paneling of that. You have this really nice right here, this blue with the shadowing. That's definitely from the filter. And then in the hard edge version, which is over here, which is really interesting to see. The big thing is, what do you do now? I want to do some CV sources that are moving. Alright, so we have LFO sources, but I still want to add 3 CV sources here, right? And still 2 here. So, and I don't really want to add too much more than what I have, so I have to be a little more conservative about how I want to approach this. So maybe I do internal feedback style stuff, which is triangle into phase, maybe there, frequency, that's kind of cool. What about FM? No. What about curve? Ratio? No. Skew? I don't know. I'm not too jazzed on that. So, what if I took logic and went to curve? It's okay. What about ratio? What about skew? Whoa. Alright. Well, I'm going to go, instead of doing that, because I'm showing you how to first condition it, and you're going in here and going out, and then we're really conditioning the CV sources here. We also want to do something with the sign shape to maybe contort them a little bit. So I think maybe that's what I'll focus on and then use the LFO sources here. So let's do that then. We'll take divided by 1 and we'll go to sine shape. Alright. And then we'll take this waveform generator and go to sine shape as well. Do saw. Alright, now I'm liking that. There's some really interesting stuff. Let's do that. That. Cool. Alright. Great. So now play with this shape changer. You can see where the shape changer holds a lot of different color variations. So the big thing I want to say now, instead of using buff mode this time, we'll get into that the next time. I'm kind of just on the whim of this. I really like this. I like the colors, the vibe, and everything. So I'm going to actually start doing LFOs. So 3 LFOs into this triangle. Boop, boop, boop. It's a little Bermuda triangle going on, I think. Into ratio. Okay. And then we'll take the next one into skew. Alright. Right. And then curve. Okay, and so now let's just play around with the shape changer a little bit. Alright, so now, and then we'll slow it down. Great. You can't really see it so much in this one versus the preview monitor. It's a lot lighter in the preview monitor. But the big thing is this embedded look of you have on the top is, I will do that next on the next one. So because I like to show people what you can do one-to-one and then we'll mult them out. So in this case, you can see the layering on top of what it is. Yeah, of what it is. What am I talking about? So you can see the layering of the filtered signal on top of it. That's what's creating this like edge right here. See how there's a vertical blue line in the second one where it is edged, but it's clearly above it. That's partially from this. See? So when I'm playing with the the CV here, and then I play with the edging, I now can allow my, and really like the edge should be its own module, period. In my view, the edge is extremely important. You can change entire patches just by doing that, as you can see already. That, in my view, should be CVable and something that should just be a toggle system, whether it can be a sequence, like that being something you could sequence, which is kind of like the 8 stage in a way, because that's when Jason blew my mind about that at VidCon. He was like, "Oh, try to use it as like a keyer." It's like, why did I ever sell this then? Kit, that's on you. I want it back, Kit. Luckily, it's in the family, which is nice. So the big thing is, from this example, is not just taking from the beginning, from the first time, which was just 2 static waveforms that weren't being manipulated, but now 2 waveforms that are then filtered that are CV'd at both ends, one here and then one here. It's going to be a little off the rails today. It's a good way. It's wine day, Sunday, Easter Sunday, peep day, kraut day, whatever we want to call it. And so we're going to just kind of go on the whim of this, of these 2 outs going into the shape changer, and then we're using the trifecta of LFOs to manipulate it, with one of them input actually being from the staircase, and that's how you're going to get a lot more of essentially the vertical positioning change, like that. But to me, really the bread and butter is the edge. The edge is the real bread and butter here, and what you can do within the filter, as you can see. So the big thing now I want to start doing, I'll review this patch, and then the next one we'll focus more on multi. We'll start out by multing out the LFOs, so I'll show you like how I view it, and then we'll use that as the basis of something that has a lot more movement. So since there's been some interest in that, so let me stop my capture. Right here, and then now we'll walk through it again. Again, we aren't even touching the stencil. I mean, we can see what it looks like out if we want to really do it. I mean, let's just see what it looks like in the blue. Nothing too much, and the stencil I think is very powerful. like, but that's internal feedback. That's a Chris LeBlanckian thing, and also a Neil. It's a wizard move. So they very much have the same type of vibe. LeBlanckian, and then we have the wizard. You know, they have a lot of the similar traits. So let's walk through the patch again. Or let's walk through it this time, and then next time we'll do the multing of LFO to start. So let's do this. So red is going to horizontal shape changer, green is going to vertical shape changer. So what's going on in the shape changer? Well, that's actually being affected by 3 LFOs, so 1, 2, and 3. So 1 is going to ratio, 2 is going to skew, 3 is going to curve. And then you also have the size VC being from the output 1 of block 2 of the logic, and the input 1 of block 2 is from the staircase. And what's the source of the staircase is a vertical ramp, which is horizontal or vertical, negative on the left, positive on the right. And that's the divided by 2. That is then going to logic and then into size. Next, we want to figure out what's actually going into the shape changer. Well, the vertical is filter number 2, and then filter number output number 3 is vertical. So horizontal is 2, vertical is 3, and then what's going in there? So we have number 2 being CV'd by this video waveform generator, triangle wave, which is then FM manipulated by divided by 4 of the staircase. Okay, and then the input of that is actually the sine shape of this horizontal waveform of lane 2, and then that is being manipulated the sine shape CV of divided by 1 of the staircase. And then in the filter number 3, lane 3, the output of that, as we said, we went to vertical, but what's happening there? It's being CV'd by a fader, which is a mix of it's essentially like this for ramps, and it is a negative in the middle, positive, positive, and then you have for A, and then for B, you have negative vertical, positive, positive, and then for the VC, you actually have number 6 of the divisions. That's what's creating that pattern. And then the output of that is going into the CV of the filter. And then what's going into the input of the filter, it's actually the sine shape of the horizontal or the vertical waveform generator. And then that is being the sine shape is CV'd by the sawtooth of this waveform generator. So, bam, there you go. Now we got some ideas. I'm glad you got ideas. That's the whole goal here. Just kind of mull around, see what's going on, try some stuff out, and wing it. So next, we're going to start with LFOs this time, since there's been curiosity. Because a big thing I always try to do is static CV manipulation, and then add CVs to it. So first we'll do CV, and I've shown you the static form, and then I'll get into probably using the blend matrix, or maybe the fader would be a good solution in that, or the logic. I haven't really done it with the logic, so we'll give that a whirl right now. Bam! That's how I think of it right now. Wine time. Bam. Alright, so let's try some LFOs that are malted. We're going to do number 1 into the bridge, and number 2 into the bridge, and then we'll do number 3 into the top part of buff malt, because I'm going to end up most likely wanting to use this, the second half of buff malt, because if I just go into 1, it'll be 1 to 6, but if I do the second one, it'll be 3 and 3. Okay, so I already have those out. Cool. What do I want to do? So I still want to use a shape changer as like the guiding force, I guess. This time, instead of it all being through the filter, I think what I'm going to do like I did before with 2 waveforms, but this time I'm going to manipulate the FM of both of them and see what happens. I don't know what will happen. Bam! I mean, I think he's from Massachusetts too, so that makes a lot of sense then. So, I can't remember if he is. I'm going to have to look that up really quick. Emerald, Massachusetts. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, Fall River. He's from Fall River. I forgot Fall River kid. Way down there. So, then he's a real Mass guy. Alright. So, let's see. Nothing's, just flow with it. Bam! So, as I said before, we have the LFO sources malted out. next thing we're gonna take, instead of it being a horizontal this time, I'm gonna do both vertical. Okay, and that's for the sake of the look of that I want to get at. Actually, well, yeah, we're gonna do that. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't need to do it the other way. I don't need to. So we're gonna do both saws. Oh my god, I'm a mess. So saws and saws and saws and saws. So that's the next thing we want to do is now take out. We'll keep doing the same thing because that's what I guess I'm gonna start doing as a standard. Is the last patch will just be like everything, but I want to keep isolating to really kind of show techniques. So we're gonna go back to what we're doing here, which is same type of thing, horizontal out, vertical out, but this time instead of being horizontal in, it's gonna be vertical in, vertical in. Okay. Oh, Fall River, kid. Good, good. Now you get it. So, okay, so we see what's happening. It's two vertical waveforms. It is practically Rhode Island. um, so you can see I have the two vertical waveforms, one here, right? So I could do the horizontal too if I wanted, one like that. Actually, yeah, we'll do it. Whatever. Let's do it. And then we want to mult out. Well, we already did mult out, but we want to take the mults, and so we'll do one into FM1. So let's open that up, and you can see it moving a little bit. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. And so then we want to take a second one. We'll take number 3, and we'll go to 2. All right. All right, let's see if I can slow that down. And that's pretty open, so let's... All right, so you have 2 LFOs controlling this horizontal waveform so far. Okay, and so as you can see, some of it's going farther down, and then some of it's kind of stuttering and doing that. Pretty cool. All right, that's going through the shape changer. So we're going to do the same thing, but for the vertical waveform. All right, and then we'll also take number 3 as well. All right, so number 2. So let's see if I can slow it down. Okay, so what is happening here, the vertical is now doing left to right a little bit, all right? Which is good, so we can see where we can cut that out, put that in. All right, great. So we kind of have a look, kind of like it. But what I want to do instead this time, instead of going straight out, drop it out. We're going to now plug in horizontal to 2 of the filter and vertical of 3 of the filter, and we're going to use those outs. You know what I call that? Change up. That's a Tim Wakefield knuckleball coming at you live right now. That's what that is, a knuckler. And because I just gave you a knuckler, weird stuff's about to happen. So as you can see, you just got knuckled, and you can see where now we have the horizontal pattern is a lot softer because of the filter. I can make it sharp like that if I want to, or I can make it soft like that, and that's actually a really cool look if you ever use if you take a single waveform design like generator or a prismatic ray that's horizontal and then give it 2 LFO sources and then put it through a filter, you get this look what I'm doing right now, period. That's a big thing. The thing is, we can't really see the vertical waveform, so now we can kind of see it coming into view. Okay, right? It's just slowly swooping in. It's swooped. The shape changer can help us essentially define it like that, and the filter is allowing us to create this soft segmentation, a more smoothness, I should say, of the edge, and the shape changer is allowing us to create that segmentation. Like in the very beginning, when I had the horizontal and vertical waveforms to create that like paneling, that same type of look here is happening, but using the filter as a way to control it, then is allowing us to get this more, I wouldn't say organic, but like watery, shadowy look that you would see, with your own eyes. All right. So you can see the LFO is slowly shifting it. It's it's increasing the FM of that, and then what do you do from there? What can we do? It's pushing it a lot, and I like that, but sometimes it can be a little messy. Also a talented percussionist, Lugazi led the high school. Interesting. Did not know that. Did not know that. That's a great fact. I love tidbits. I love facts. That's a good being one on the John with the bidet. I like that. So realistically, we still have these LFOs, and that's the thing we were talking about from the beginning: is how do we now use these multed LFOs to now control more sources? So now we're going to take number three. Actually, we're going to do number two LFO, and we're going to do that in a ratio. All right. We're going to go into size, and we're going to do the number three. All right. And then we'll do number one to curve. All right, and for the kick, we're gonna do skew VC. We're gonna just do put in a ramp, which is horizontal, positive up top, negative on bottom, to give it a little bit of a look. All right. So now we want to play with the shape changer. So you can see you can just go right to there, or now you can start pulling out a whole other vibe. And now let me play with the LFOs a little bit. I don't like them so fast. I like them pretty slow. Yeah, something like that. Okay. The whole point is sometimes you want to get dynamic patterns. It doesn't always happen, but the whole point I found is using the CV as a tool like this. You can create a lot of interesting designs that you may not anticipate, like this. Like, we're not seeing the vertical in here yet, and that's a little disheartening, but I think I just got to increase. There we go. So, and I want to slow that down still. It's just hard looking at two different screens. Okay, so there's that, and then that. So we're going to actually bump that up, so then we can do this. All right. All right, all right, all right. All right, so cool. Now we're getting into some wiggles, and we haven't even CV'd the filter yet. And so we're going to actually take, instead of taking from the LFOs, now that we have the waveform generators being manipulated by two different LFOs for each, we're going to take the triangle of both, and we're going to go into the filter. Alright, let's tune it down, bring it down, and bring this one down. What I guess I'm trying to emphasize is the idea of movement. This one's a little hard to tune. It's in between. Let's just take you down. Is the idea of movement, how you use the filter to essentially give it a gloss, but using the multiple LFO design, you can actually push it in such a way that gives unique movement but stays the same, maintains the same structure, but still, with a limited set you may have, provides a lot of possibilities. Um, yeah, like these are some lime green peeps we got going on right now. So let me actually try to, yeah. So this is really, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. And then now with the this is it. This is the pot. Yep. Okay. Got it. Getting there. Getting there. Okay. So this is what I'm saying. Now we got. Yep. There it is. So now we're getting these kind of like diagonal coming down, diagonal, and then it and then morphs a little bit. Okay, so that's what I guess I'm trying to look for, is things like that. And if I change, there it is. So if I changed the range of the video frequency video waveform generator for the horizontal wave, now I'm able to create this pattern that is diagonal down and comes to a point. That's with all this different tiered LFO sources, you can create this pattern that has a left to right movement and then has the vertical movement, and it creates these watery looks. Okay, the filter obviously plays a hand in that, and playing with the edge, as I said, should be its own module because it provides so much density. And you can see it here specifically. What I'm trying to get to is you have the green line and the black line, okay? And then you have this horizontal line that folds over and comes down a little bit and illuminates what we're trying to do. So that is the big thing. How was that? I don't know what was what. Lime green peeps? I don't know. They were good. They were tasty. Wine time. So what we're seeing here is how you can again take what we've been kind of going through using the shape changer as the main funnel, but this time instead of it being the main endpoint from horizontal going out, vertical going out, we're taking the horizontal, vertical, and then filtering them. But then specifically, we're using their sources, which are two waveform generators, like the first patch we did. Fruit punch peeps are good. Oh, that was me. That was my body. That was my mouth. I like to make sound effects. So, that's a big thing. I went to school for sound design. So the main thing is instead of it just being static this time, I wanted to mult out the LFOs and use them to control the first two waveforms, right? But also to then use those waveforms that are being manipulated to manipulate the filter. So realistically, it's folding in on itself a little bit. And that's a big thing. Yeah, for Foley is like so it's a big thing. I love Foley. I wish I could go to do Foley work. I'd be in heaven with that. So as you can see, again, we've created this pattern. Let's do a backwards walkthrough, and we'll do another patch, and we'll see what happens. Oh man, there really are fruit punch peeps. What? So that's a reality. Just so you know, that's real, and they probably taste awesome. Is my view on that. So this time, because we just focused on two waveforms. I know I'm repeating myself, but we didn't use stencil or gradient. We didn't use staircase this time, and we didn't use logic or divisions, and really didn't use the ramps. Okay. What I want to do this time is again use the waveform generator into shape changer thing, but we're going to use We'll be ramps heavy on this, and we'll see what we'll use ramps heavy on the FM inputs. We'll use the LFOs in a different way after it's being sourced from the shape changer. Maybe we'll go shape changer stencil. Maybe that's what we'll do. Instead of vertical, horizontal, we'll do stencil into like staircase, and then we'll do gradient into the filter or something. Let's try that. Okay, so walkthrough time. Blah, 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 blah. So we have number 2 output of the filter going to green of the encoder, number 3 output of the filter going to blue of the encoder. Great. So what's happening here? Well, the input of the multi-mode filter for number 2 is the horizontal waveform from the shape changer, and then the 3 is the vertical waveform of the vertical out of the shape changer. Great. Well, that's also being CV'd. We'll get back to that section in a second. So it's being CV'd, and lane 2 is being CV'd by this video waveform generator triangle wave, which is then being CV'd by two different LFOs. That is number 1 and number 3. Great. And then we have lane 3 is being CV'd by the triangle wave of this video waveform generator, which is then being CV'd by number 3 and number 2 LFO. Great. So going back to the shape changer, what's going into there? Well, we have the input is actually also is the video waveform generator sawtooth wave for right here, which is horizontal into horizontal and vertical into vertical of the sawtooth wave right here. Perfect. And then what's going into the CV here? Well, we have number 2 LFO, we have number 3 LFO, and then we have what do we got here? Number 1 LFO right there. And then skew is actually a single ramp we're using here, which is a horizontal, positive up top, negative on bottom. So realistically, we're using one ramp to do this whole thing. Kind of amazing, actually, considering what's happening. So the next thing we want to do is rip this up. Let's take a breather for a second. Been going at it. Feels good. It's a good day. It's beautiful out, even if it's snowing, raining. We're alive. We're doing good. Next thing. Is that over there? Oh, is it over there? I don't know where I put that. It's somewhere. Alright, cool. So we're going to rip this up and we'll try again. Try again. Try again. Alright, let's do it. Yep, I'm just a heavy-handed rip. Rip them out. Heavy-handed. I know. Alright. Take a little sip of water. Great. Next step. What are we trying to do here? We're trying to create something good. So, I don't know if it's good or not. We'll figure it out. Alright. So this time, we wanted to take the video waveform generation. We'll do the same thing. We'll do horizontal, vertical, vertical. So, what I want to do first is to show you what they look like, just generally. What they're gonna look like. So we'll take the triangle of both. All right, but we're gonna do ramps into them. So, and we'll do like the opposite. We'll do the opposite. So this is no, we'll do verticals into the horizontals. So you see what I'm talking about. So you have vertical, negative on left, positive on right. Go to FM1 of the horizontal wave, and then we'll take opposite of that, which is the vertical positive on the left, positive on the left, negative on the right. So that's what we have here. Okay, cool. And then on the next one, we'll do the opposite in the sense of this. We'll do horizontal waveforms, which is negative up top, positive on bottom. And then the opposite of that, which is negative up top, positive up top, negative on bottom. Wow, I just inverted my whole statements again. So this one is negative up top, positive on bottom, and FM2 is positive on top, negative on bottom. So many words. All right, cool. So that allows me to bend it, and then, you can't really do much with that horizontal. So you know what I'm going to do? Let's flip it. And so by flipping it, I'm going to get a little more of what I would like. I can't talk to you, John, right now. I know you're my brother. I love you, but I'll call you back. So we have those vertical waveforms into the vertical one here, and what it's doing, you can see I can kind of shift. Because of the ramp, I'm able to shift and condense the waveforms over here, and it creates this cool little segmentation, right? Great. So that's what it looks like on the output. So we're going to take that out, and we're actually going to go, let's see, triangle to horizontal, and then we'll do triangle from this one to vertical, right? Okay. So that's great. The next thing is, what do I want to do from here? So I want to show you what it looks like from the stencil, just to give you a look. Alright, so from the look of this, we'll do green, and that is pretty bad ace. Alright, so red is the same. What does gradient look like? Okay, what does horizontal look like? What does vertical look like? Okay, so it's shown me, just that quick observation, there's some cool stuff going on in the horizontal and vertical, right? I really like the stencil. How do I want to approach that? Because that's some cool stuff. I can do staircase. I think I'll do that. I'll do stencil staircase. I mean, there's so many patches I can do. There's so many things. There's so many opportunities, so many options. So stencil into staircase, and then I think I'm gonna legit just do. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. We'll see what happens with this. This is completely. I don't usually do this. We're gonna do 4 to 1, or divide by 4 to 1, divide by 2 to 2. Divide by 1 to 3. Alright, bam. So what I'm doing, you're taking the 1, 3 out, and now, instead of, we're not going to go to the blend matrix or the color space mapper yet. be a little cheat to get those colors. I want to show you some cool stuff before we get there. So next, we're going to just do OLN. OLN, we're just going to do 1-to-1 for all of those, so we're going to keep that as our base, alright? Alright, you can already see some cool stuff happening, and that why that is because we have the staircase, which already is getting us through a lot of color scopes like that from the stencil, and now using the filter, we can pull apart the signal and have these unique layers that's going to give you some beautiful looks, as you can see already, alright? So now with the staircase, you could manipulate it or move it around, but we're still talking CV, right? Talking CV. What do we do? So the big thing, what do we do when you want a CV? You know, you say, feed me. That's what I say when I want more CV. I say, feed me. And so how do I feed myself like that? Well, what I want to do is take a triangle, go to fader, take this that's a triangle of the prismatic array, go to B, and then the VC, we're going to take a ramp. No, we'll take the vertical, right? And we're going to take that output, we're going to molt it. So now we have that there. Actually, instead of the VC being from the vertical, we're gonna do a LFO, and then we're gonna molt that out. So then the next step is, once we do that, we have this molted out version of it. And so what do we want to do from there? Well, we want to try to see, does it work with phase or frequency? Alright, let's see. Not so much. What about phase? Yeah, that's pretty much there. Let me get there. I have to look. No, that's in between. Alright. So you can see there's already a lot of shaping that is occurring, mainly from the ramps and the vertical waveforms. And in the FM, which I think FM is so foundational here. Sorry for hitting the mic. And because you have this waveform, which is being used with the fader, and then essentially being used to manipulate the staircase. You know, you got that going on, all right? And so with the filter, you can start to take out part of the signal. Right. So we've conditioned that CV. That's one way you could condition it. Right? So that's conditioning CV of the staircase. Well, I'm going to do the same type of thing 2 more times, but instead of doing it for like all of that or all that, we're just going to do it for 1. So you can see the power of just having 3 LFOs here, okay? You don't need a whole block of 20 of them. You can do a lot with limited pieces. I'm a big fan of that. It can be very challenging. We don't always want to do that, but it's really important too, because since these are rare items, sometimes you can only get a few pieces. So if you can only get a few pieces, we got to teach ourselves how to be cognizant of our movement. And when we do that enough, we don't have to think about it anymore. It's just like, oh, put it here, 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 here. You know, we all have that ability. So the thing is, we're using this one LFO source, and next one we want to do is I'm gonna take I'm gonna take one of the filter out. No, I don't want to do that because I want to go to the filter. I'm gonna take the gradient out. Go to plus of the mixer here. The minus will be a, what will that be? I think it's going to be this vertical waveform, which is positive in the middle, negative, negative. Okay. And then the plus will be another LFO. Okay. So now I'm showing that instead of before where we buffed it out before where it was like, you know, molted out and you could do whatever. This is more of, here's an LFO. It does a unique thing to the zone, and then we do that 3 times. So one of the unique ones is mixing it together and then going the staircase. Again, are fading it together, and then this one's going to be mixing it together and going maybe into this shape changer or the triple video. We don't know yet. We've already mixed it together. Now we got to experiment. So let's see what happens. My intuition is saying the filter. So I like the second one and the third, or the first and the second one. What's skew look like? That's pretty cool. Size, curve, ratio. I think I might go with skew actually, because that has a really nice look to it, and I just messed that up. So you just got to bear with me as I slow it back down. All right, let's get one, two. Okay, great. So you see now that I'm using the two different LFO sources in this way, looking fantastic. Snaps all around. So it's, let's see if I switch it negative. Doesn't really do too much, A to B. A to B is actually pretty good with the manipulation, right? But so let's just play around with the filter a little bit, change the edge, right? Even slow it down more, realistically. All right. Perfect. That's what I'm looking for right there. That is dense. I think I'm also in between scan lines. Yeah, I'm in between scan lines. Hold on. To this one, that is. It's hard to tell between the two screens. Yeah, I don't get why it keeps like popping down like that. But, and what I mean is like the reset of it, but let's go with it. So that's a pretty good look so far. Now we still have one more LFO source to mess with, and that's specifically for the filter. And what I wanted to do that time is actually I'm going to take a few different divisions and put them together. I haven't really done this before. Maybe this will be a segment on another one, a video painting. It's like I'm just going to take three different divisions going out, and then the last out. Actually, I'm going to take all three, and I'm going to go to the filter. I have never done this. I guess we'll figure it out. I don't know. So weird. Weird. All right. Let's change the kind. All right. Whoa. Okay. So yeah, I'm still in between scan lines. I'm not a fan of that. I really need a fine-tuned LFO. All right, there we go. Perfect. Now we're in a position I really like. Looks in between again. Okay, whatever. We're going to go with it. So the whole point is we're using divisions here to mess with the filter, right? And that's where if I were to play with the edge, you'd be able to see it more than other times. That's what's getting this lined look, you know. And look, we really haven't ever been playing with the encoder, which is the crazy part because a lot of the color is coming from here. And that's a big aspect of this is a lot of people may think, oh, I need to, and I've done this too, you may need to play with the visual cortex color or switches. If your patch is lined up like this, you don't really need to play with a color that often. It's just stable. You end up playing more with the controls in the CV to define that color scope. Okay, so that's the big thing here. So I think I'm pretty content with this patch. It's shown how to use instead of a multed LFO source. Oh, that's right. We haven't even used the LFO source because realistically, I'm jumping the gun. I got too excited to see this. So what I'm gonna do instead is let's have fun. Let's take all of these, put them together, and now I'm going to take that last source, put it in. I can't go all the way back out again, but wait, I actually can because I'm going to mult it again, and we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. I have a feeling this is going to be bad. So it's 1, 2, and 3. Cool. And then we have this. Okay, so the whole point with this one, it allows it to, or it creates a way to pulse the line segments, so it fades in and fades out while there's the two different vertical LFO movements. Okay, so let's walk through the patch again, and you'll see exactly what I mean. This was just like ridiculous, but it's worked out. So I'm just gonna roll with it and see how we do. All right. So the next thing, let's review. So we're gonna do RGB to 1, 2, and 3 out, respectively, of the filter. And so then the next thing is what goes into the filter. Well, it's 1, 2, and 3 output of the staircase, which 1, 2, and 3 means divide by 2, divide by 4, divide by 2, divide by 1 going in. Bam. And then they're being CV'd. How are they being CV'd? Well, they're being CV'd by 3 different divisions. Those 3 divisions, which we have, let's start from the top. In section 2, or block 2 of logic, we have 6, 7, and 3. So 6, 7, 3. 6 going to 1, 7 going to 2, 3 going to 3. And then those outputs, output 1, 2, and 3 being multed with this LFO right here. You can see multed, and then that's actually being chained here, so I can have the 3 respectively out. So at that point, I don't even know which is which. They're just going to the CV ends 1, 2, and 3 of the filter. Okay, that's how you can see exactly that type of look, right? And that's where the edging helps a lot as well. Great, so we have that. What's going into the staircase? Well, we have the stencil. Let's see what's being, yeah, we'll just do that first. So it's the stencil, and then what's going into the uh, shape changer to create that. We have the vertical waveform here, which is going into horizontal, and then the other vertical waveform here going into vertical. Both of those are being FM'd on both sides, or both FM inputs are being used. So in the first one here, this is going to be a vertical waveform, negative on the left, positive on the right for input 1. Input 2 is positive on the left, negative on the right. If I repeated that, I apologize. We'll do it again. FM1, negative on the left, positive on the right. FM2, positive on the left, negative on the right. Cool. Then we have this waveform generator, which is same type of principle. We have a negative up top, positive on bottom horizontal, and then positive up top, negative on bottom horizontal for FM1 and FM2 respectively. Cool. So that's in there. And the skew is actually coming from this mixer. So this mixer is 3 different inputs. We have the gradient, and then we have a vertical wave ramp, which is positive in the middle, negative, negative, and then the plus sign is from this LFO here, and then the mixer is going to the skew of the shape changer. Great. So the other thing I want to say is the phase is VC of the staircase is coming from this multed signal right here. So multed come out from here, which is from the fader. And what's the fader? Fader is A, which is the triangle waveform here, triangle waveform in the prismatic ray going in mixed together, and then another LFO here CVing it, right? And that's it for that patch. That patch, again, instead of using the LFOs multed or 1-to-1, this is taking each LFO, using it as a manipulated source, and creating a layered pattern so you can see how to maximize the use of just 3 LFOs. I don't have any more LFOs than that. That's all the LFOs I have. So you can see where that can be a little frustrating if you're not used to it, but you have to kind of sit down and logically plot things out sometimes, or mult them, or create these systems of manipulating the CV. Oh, that water's good. Ooh, yeah. So now we'll rip up the patch. Alright, 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 alright. Cool. So the next thing, the thing I had in my mind originally that kind of started this, and I really haven't addressed it yet, is using division solely for the shape changer. And I kind of just want to do that as a quick test, and we'll use an LFO source with it, but I mean, it is an LFO source technically what I'm going to be doing with it. But what I really wanted to see was this. So we're just going to free patch it quickly to prototype this idea. I think this will be pretty interesting for everybody, which is, let's just do it. We're going to just do saw into horizontal, and then we'll do sine shape into vertical, right? And then we're going to take out our horizontal, G is vertical, Then we're taking the stencil, and stencil will be source of the staircase, and I've done this one a lot, and staircase goes divided by 2 goes to B. Alright, cool. Well, since we primarily have 2 vertical waveforms, right? We have one here, and then one here. We can kind of tell the difference, but not really, and this doesn't necessarily help yet. So what do? You could take these other waveform generators, prismatic array or video waveform generator, to create the horizontal wave. But I want to use this divisions to do it, or a ramp. But I specifically want divisions. I don't. It's just been in my head. I just, when I was sitting down, I was watching a show and eating some fries before this. I should have been eating something better, but I'm home alone, so I'm Kevin McAllister right now, so it's kind of just winging it. Um, what do I want to do? Well, I was like, well, have I used divisions doing that before? Not really, so let's try it. And we're not going to use divisions in the way that's segmented, where it's like power 2, you get a line for each. We're going to do it where it's a little more impactful, and we'll see if it works. All right. So, right. So that's what I mean. Is like, so there's the divided by, or power 2. So that's 8. Here is 6. Right. So I want to see if I take multiples of these going to shape changer, what it will do. So that's 6 going into ratio. Size will be 8. Well, let's try skew in 8. What about curve? Alright, let's see what it does. Okay, cool. Alright, so that's one of them. So now I want to actually then go bold and take 4 and do curve. Alright, so you see now, alright, that's what the curve input would do. And I guess that's what I was curious about. It's allowing me to create, I guess, almost like castle-like patterns together. And that's why I view this as a very essential module, is allowing me to use the shape changer as a way to manipulate between the two of them. But now it's like a baseline of pattern contortion. Like, you could literally have a divisions and a shape changer and a staircase. You could use like waveforms, but like you necessarily, yeah, you would need like small static waveforms, but like you can create a lot in this small way. And staircase, you can see, isn't really being used yet. It's straight from the stencil. What about if it's from gradient? Not too much, but we'll keep it as stencil. But what we're going to do is actually going to take other aspects of divisions. Let's do number 7. We'll go into frequency and see what that looks like. Can't really see it. You can kind of see it there. What about phase? I think it could also be, it's just not. Yeah, there we go. You can see the yellow there, right? All right, cool. Yeah. So you can see if I just had it in this mode where each output is just a different line segment, as you can see right here, 1, 2, 3, right? But when I have it in this mode, I think that's a lot more interesting. So the next step is, you have these waveforms right here, golden shrimps. Wow, I hope those golden shrimps are making some serious minds happen. Uh, yeah, I am doing video synthesis. What the heck is golden shrimps? Please explain. Please explain. I need to know what this is now. Is this something you eat? Are they from Mars? Are they from Pluto? Like, what? Golden shrimps. Okay. So that just really melted my mind for a second. Um, the whole point is, because I increase the frequency, you can see where it dynamically changes the pattern like that too, and that's more like, a shirt pattern or a cloth pattern. But if I turn down the frequencies, and here's the sine shape, and we're using this sawtooth here, you can create patterns which are really good, but also because the variation of the shape changer allows you to make it not so structured and formulaic. And in this case, why I was curious about the divisions is it's pretty much doing what I was thinking it was going to do, is this. So it's a Discord channel for synth heads, and Yeah, yeah. So we're doing video synthesis. Share, spread the word, please. Spread the word. I'd really appreciate that. Golden shrimps. Wow, that just hurt my head still. Because are shrimps made of gold? Because if they are, like, I'm missing out. Because I should be farming shrimp. So the whole point, what I'm trying to get at with the shape changers, using it, the divisions with the shape changer as a CV, static CV source, I'm able to create these type of patterns that are almost like cloudy with hard segments. This is something like the castles can do. And that's where I find castles. I don't have it in this system. I have it in a different system. This is my quarantine system at a different house, so I apologize. But the big thing is you could use that with different amplifiers to create this type of pattern. So now with the staircase, you can create this. You're essentially controlling more of the color look because we're really avoiding these two main outputs today. That was my kind of goal, is to push myself in a different way, and that's what I like to do. I think that's very important. We've talked about that. Don't always do what you're used to. Make it hard on yourself a little bit. This is all practice. It's all fun, and that's okay. It's not always going to work the way you want. That's just what we do. But sometimes you got to push it. So now, look, the sine shape isn't even being used. The gradient isn't even being used. Well, maybe we can do phase to gradient. Let's see what that looks like. Nah, I mean, it kind of does something. What about the sine shape? I like that because this is a little LeBlancian wizard move we got going on right here. I'm glad that both of you are in the house. You create this little internal feedback, but the thing is controlled. It's nice controlled feedback. I love feedback as well. It can be unwieldy, but when you have a nice, fine wine controlled feedback, it's delicious. It's nice and lip smacking. That's what I want. All right. So now we have divided by 4, and we're going to go into FM1. All right. And again, right there, you can see where it's blocking that off, right? And that's another kind of internal feedback look. And then we're going to do the same thing here with divided by 1. Yeah, see, it's a little too much there. But instead of going there, we're going to actually go to the size. All right. So now we have kind of two different layerings of feedback inside of this, as you can see right there, which is actually really cool look. It's definitely a look right there, like something like that is really interesting. You can play with divisions a little bit to see what you could get for different designs. Maybe let's give that a whirl. Let's see if the clocks, if I can do the wizard move that I was trained about. It's all specifically for video. It's completely different range. You can, but it's not going to be exactly what you think it's going to be. Video is its own world with frequency ranges. So I'm not going to actually CV that. See, this is back to static waveforms, where we'll take a FM and we'll show you right there. Other people may be able to answer that more specifically, but essentially, like, video is in the megahertz range. It's inaudible, so it's a lot different. You can have, like, the LFO does have some, like, audible range frequencies, but the big thing about that, you're only able to really, like, slightly move frequencies or move waveforms. It's a completely different animal, and you need different chipsets, and you need to be more attuned with RF, because realistically, like, these are radio frequencies. This isn't audio anymore. So that's why there really aren't that many manufacturers, because it's significantly more difficult, and you need to also account for sync and chrominance, luma, like all these different things in the video signal. I would highly suggest like looking up a composite video signal to see what is there to get a better idea. There's also a really good tutorial, like an older LZX tutorial that describes how video synthesizers work. I actually find that to be very awesome. So I like the movement there, but really what I wanted to do in this one was to see how to use the divisions as a way for just the CV source of the shape changer, and then using divisions to yeah, exactly, you guys got that. And so using that as a way to kind of carve out aspects like that. Like I'm carving out using the divisions, like right there you see the lines, but I love this. Like that's my favorite right there. Where it's like faded out. Those gradients faded. And that is a really cool look. It's hard to get to sometimes, but I guess in this case, I just wanted to confirm something in my own brain. So thank you for going on that diatribe with me because that was something I've been pondering for a while. Um, so the next thing, audio filters sort of work. It depends. Dude, Kraut with this, it's good stuff. I'm telling you, people don't believe me, but exactly, it's not full bandwidth. It's like you can sort of do stuff. It's gonna do things you wouldn't expect, but it's not really gonna be clean. So that's why a lot of people, when they do video stuff, it's pure video. That's why a lot of us too is like when you get into video, it's almost like you. I've known so many people who get into video and sell all their audio because they're just all in. Like you do see people with both, but it's that type of world. Like you have to go full tilt. I've done that like 3 times already. Where I'm like, yeah, I'll get audio stuff again. They're like, nope, not happening. So we'll walk through this patch, and then you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna full blown free patch. Um, this time I won't avoid these. We'll just kind of wing it. I won't really think about it, and we'll do something different, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll take in some of the ideas I talked about. Something maybe I won't, but we'll try it. Let's give it a shot. So, thank you for dropping that link. Appreciate that. Thank you for coming over from Golden Shrimp. And actually, please spread the word. I'm trying to do this once a week or maybe twice a week. And if you go on my YouTube, same handle as this, same handle for Instagram, like everything, cskonopka, CSKONOP as in Peter, KA. And you can find all these videos after the fact uploaded there. So now let's walk through this really quickly. We're going to do red is going to horizontal of the shape changer, vertical of the shape changer is going to green. So then what's going into the shape changer? Well, we have the sawtooth wave going into horizontal, but it's a vertical, and then we have the sine shape going into the vertical of the shape changer from this video waveform generator. The vertical waveform generator is being CV'd by the gradient, so it's creating feedback loop, and then the FM of this video waveform generator is being CV'd by divided by 4 of the staircase. Fantastic. B is the input of divided by 2, and then the source of that is actually the gradient of the shape changer. Great. It's being CV'd by, this frequency of the staircase is being CV'd by number 7 of divisions. Okay. So next, as I said, the stencil is going into the source, but then the biggest key here is the CV of the shape changer. So number 4 divisions is going to curve, number 6 is ratio, and then number 8 is skew. And so there we go. Are they more? It depends. Can be, because there's specialty and there's limited runs of a lot of things. Depends on what you want to get. Um, so yeah, so bam, we got that going next. I'm gonna rip this out, and I am going to do a free patch. DIY modules for video, they exist. So that's one way of doing it. There's also standalones. There's also a lot of good software like Video Waves or the, Signal Culture stuff or Lumen or, even, Touch Designer has some stuff. VSynth and Max has their, you know, yes, and thank you, Bill and Chris, because that is correct. They are definitely simpler that can get you there. But yes, that's the big thing, as Bill points out, is like the price is drastically different because of the use of them, of the like parts and the components. It just is what it is. There's no way around it, and that's why things are the way they are, and that's why it's even harder to build because you have to pay $4 for an op amp. You blow 10 of them, you're kind of burnt. Versus if they're 40 cents each, you're in a much better position. Um, so now we're gonna do the traditional. That's what I'm gonna call it: red to red, green to green, blue to blue. And the traditional sum. Exactly. So Thank you, everyone, for helping out in the chat. I really appreciate that. We have to spread the word. Spread the word. Can you spread the word of the video synthesis? That's what I would like to hear. So we have some into some 1 into H, some 2 into S, some 3 into Y. And so the big thing we're going to use that as like the sync right now. So the big thing is oh, awesome. Thank you for being here, James. I really appreciate you for being here. Love it. Much appreciated. I'm so happy you're here. That's the big thing. So next we're going to do final patch of the sesh. So we try to do 2-hour sessions for this. That's the big thing. It's a little gauntlet, but it's a good thing. Needed. It's a good push. Let me take a sip. So next we're going to just do our free patch, which is the traditional method as we got here. And now what do we want to do? We still want to use the shape changer as the like beginning nexus point, but we want to condition on the CV. So what I'm going to really do to just kind of give me the look already is just do, oh, and I knew I would do it every single time. It happens once. Alright, whatever. It's going to hang for a second. So we're going to do horizontal into A1. A2 is vertical. And then, great, we're going to have that. Next, we're going to take, I'm just kind of setting up ahead of time, is stencil into source. And then we're going to actually do the kind of thing I did before, which I thought was pretty dang cool, which is take 4 to 1 of the filter, divide by 2 to 2, divide by 1 to 3. And then those OLNs, I'm actually going to make those pluses. So OLN to plus 1, OLN to plus 2, and then OLN 3 to plus 3. Okay, so now we're in a position where things are lined up. Okay, what do we want to do? I don't know, because I kind of already used this, and I've already used this. So how am I going to use my waveforms? Well, I'm going to take this saw wave, we're going to do fade, then we're going to take FM1, we're going to do horizontal, negative up top, positive on bottom, and then we're going to take another waveform, and we're going to actually go through, we're going to do a ramp, which is vertical, negative or positive on the left, negative on the right, and we're going to take that, and we're going to go into FM2. Okay. Then we have then to A, and then B, we're gonna do this other video waveform generator, this time a saw, actually sine shape, and that sine shape will be something relative to that, which is going to be the opposite of that, which is horizontal, negative up or positive up top, negative on bottom. That's going to go to FM1, and then FM2 will be, and I don't have any more small ones, that stinks. We're going to take the opposite of that, which is vertical, negative on the left, positive on the right, to this other logic, and that logic is going to go to the FM2. Actually, instead of FM2, it's going to go to the sine shape, bam. There we go. And then all this stuff is happening right now. Still nothing to look at, right? And so what's the deal here? Well, we got to still take the output of that. The output of that, I'm going to say to horizontal. And then we're going to take the VC of that, and we're going to do 8, right? And then now, actually, instead of that, we're gonna molt that, and we'll take the output of that and go to vertical or horizontal, right? Okay, cool. You know what I call it? Laying in the cut. So we're laying in the cut right now. We're gonna figure this out. So yeah, lots of cool stuff. You know, my man right there. You got the structure. You know, you should check that out too, baby boy. So next thing is we want to do vertical of the shape changer. So I want to take this other waveform generator from all the way downtown, get that knuckle in there, so right there, and then we're going to CV that with this prismatic ray. And then we're going to waterfall it. We're going to take this saw wave going to here, and then we're going to actually take the pedestal, and then we're going to take it from 6, and then we're going to take the multiply, and we're going to take that from the filter, and then we're going to take the FM2, and that FM2 is going to come from this ramp, which is positive in the middle, negative up top, negative on bottom. And so now I don't even know what's happening. There's stuff going on. There's things occurring. We're taking the gradient. We're going to be, or actually no, we're going to take out this and go to 3. And now let's start to see what we get. Alright. Alright, let's see. So this, where is that going? That's going into there. This is going into that. That's not even coming out yet. So what we should do is take that out. Triangle, go to B. Or let's go to, yep, that's what I want. That's what I want. There we go. Okay, so we got that look. Next thing, we want to do B2. We want to take one of the filters. Alright, yeah, so I got a little internal, which is nice. So yeah, I'm loving that. That's some dank sauce. That's what I like right now. Right. Yeah, that's really good too. I don't know how to pronounce it right now. I can't look at it, but I've used that before. It's good. Um, so right now, the next thing I'm going to take the LFOs and we'll molt them like we discussed. And we'll take this one. This is going to be a big patch to review, but it'll be worth it. Hopefully. So now we're going to take one of the LFOs and we're going to do, wow, I can't even do that one. Here. Okay. Alright, cool. Alright, so, oh, of course, just, there we go. Sorry about that, people. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Okay. Right. Yes. Now we're getting to a point of comfortability for me. Oh, there's some internal like a mosque. Right. Alright, 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 alright. Cool. See, that's what's cool right there. See, it's not just it's like a down and then a curve, like a hump. Alright. Can I get out of there? I don't really want that. Get that back. Get the red in there and the blue. Okay. That looks like a slide. Or is it me? Does that look like a slide from Water Country or what? It does to me. Um, Alright. Cool. Okay, I think I like that. That is very much. Well, I have divisions only once in there. Let's try another. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take another thing of divisions out. 3 will do B. Let me see. That's why I like divisions. And that's why I like the mixer. Water country, water country, water country. Bump, bump, have some fun. Bump, bump, bump. That's exactly what I'm talking about. No, I'm not in New Hampshire. I'm in Massachusetts. But, like, everywhere in New England gets that ad so hard. I'm really excited for that this year. Um, okay, so now I'm getting into those colors that I really like. It's burnt. So I'm going to take out that divisions. I like it. But I just really like this pattern. Um, so I think I'll keep this. It has definitely the water country vibe. Um, oh yeah, I've seen the Red Etcher stuff. Oh, you're in Manch Vegas, baby. Yeah, nice, nice. Not far at all. I'm in the North Shore right now. Um, so yeah, I really like this patch. It makes me think of the summertime. I would like to be out going to, I don't know if I'd go to water country, but at least at the beach, see some slides. I'm looking at some slides right now. So I think that's pretty sweet. So a lot of that's like internal too. Like I could probably turn some more knobs to get some new stuff, but I think I'm gonna keep it where I'm at. I like this a lot. So I twist it a little bit so you can see, the other waveform underneath, which is appearing right there and right there. But so let's just do a quick review of my slides that I've presented to you. So everyone be positive, think of the summer. Um, so we have the traditional R to R, G to G, B to B, and they have 1, 2, and 3 going to H, S, and Y respectively. Okay, and so then what we're doing, we have some things going into the plus, and then only into column 1 and column 2. We'll start with the plus. The plus is actually the respectively outputs of 1, 2, and 3 lanes of the OLN. Uh, that does happen, sadly, of the multi-mode filter, and the two outs of those, we'll get in, yeah, the two outs of those we have in lane 1, the band pass is going to B channel, B column channel 2, B2, and then we have the high pass going 3 of channel 3, the high pass of channel 3 going to the multiply of this prismatic ray. Okay, so then we're doing the to 1, 2, and 3 respectively goes to divide by 2, divide by 2, or divide by 4, divide by 2, divide by 1. So that's from the staircase. And then what's going in the staircase is the source is the stencil of the shape changer. Okay, great. Well, the staircase is one way of one angle, and then the shape changer provides the other, which is horizontal and vertical. So the horizontal is going into A1 and the vertical is going into A2. And then also in A3 we have a multed signal. So that multed signal is actually coming from this. What do I want to do? Yeah, we'll do that first. The multed signal comes from the fader, which is from this video waveform generator, triangle wave. A, or into input A into input B, is a sine shape, which we have right there, which is being modulated by a logic manipulated ramp, which is the ramp is vertical, negative on the left, positive on the right. So let's go back, so that's B, and then the VC is actually number 8 of divisions. Great. So that's great, and that's what's going into the mult, and that mult is going into, let's see, the fader. Yeah, let's see, fader, fader out, mult, and then that's going into the horizontal of the shape changer, and the vertical is the triangle wave of this waveform generator, which is being CV'd by, I guess that's the sine wave of the prismatic ray, and then the FM1 and then FM2 is being manipulated by the horizontal positive in the middle, negative on top, negative on bottom. Okay, so we did that, so that's from the mold there. So we talked about that. So there, okay, so the second mult is just this LFO. This LFO is going into FM2 of this video waveform generator. We talked about this sine shape. So now the next thing is this FM right here, FM2 of this video waveform generator is actually the opposite waveform, which is of the previous, or opposite ramp, which is positive on the left, negative on the right, going through the divisions, and then that divisions is going into that FM, as I mentioned. So then the next step is, well, what are these other ramps? Well, this ramp, which is horizontal, negative up top, positive on bottom, that's going to FM1 of this video waveform generator. The opposite of that, which is negative or positive up top, negative on bottom, is going to FM1 of this video waveform generator. And then we have the consolidated version, I guess you could call it, I don't know, is like the positive in the middle, negative up top, negative on bottom, going to the FM1 over here. So now the last things to button up are, let's see, we have in this prismatic ray, the pedestal is being CV by the video divisions, and then the frequency CV is being manipulated by this triangle wave of the video waveform generator, and then the multiply is being manipulated by, as I mentioned previously, the low passive filter number 3. And then I think that is it. That looks like it's it. And so what I really want to thank you for being here. What I really wanted to show was how to use CV sources and contort them, but also to use these kind of like blocked methods like this, which is saying, oh, this has 3 outputs, why not use just 3? Granted, we avoided these primarily in the beginning of this, but a big part of it was to show how to use a shape changer as a way to be the bucket or the way to filter everything. And that was the big thing for me, is like, how do you approach that? So, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to rewatch this, you can rewatch it on Twitch or on YouTube. After this, I usually download and put on YouTube. Look for, my handle, cskonopka, CSKONOPKA. You can find that for Instagram, Twitter. I don't use Twitter that much, but like any platform, I've just used that handle. And if you go on YouTube, you look up video painting with that handle, you can find all these clips, especially the past video paintings from quarantine, and ones previously that I've done. And this one will probably be up later today. So if you ever have questions, feel free to email me, message me, whatever you need to do. I'm happy to answer questions, and if you have suggestions, really appreciate it. So thank you so much, and have a great day. Take your time today. Get outside a little bit and go smell some fresh air. If reach out to someone you love, say hey, and yeah, thank you everyone for being here. I really appreciate all of you, and have a great day. All right, later. Thanks for being here.